of miracles inside our bodies.
See every color on Earth. Hear sounds that inspire. Feel more than just heat. Taste a world of flavor.
Nice.
Smell the miracles of nature. See, smell, hear, taste, touch. Widen your world.
There are those of us who like to venture to the unexplored, to see the beauty in the strange and unknown. Those of us who go out there with a sense of wonder. If you're one of us, and if you want to explore more of this great planet, we're ready to take you there. It's time. Turkish Airlines. Widen your world.
Hello again, industry leaders, dear audience, distinguished participants. Welcome back to Eurasia Airshow. We are in the third day of the show. Today, we will be together with the CEO of Embraer, commercial aviation. Mr. Arjan Meijer will be with us. And this is our sixth webinar, actually. And our title, our subject is how to make civil aviation economies better with the commercial aircraft. So first, I would like to share a brief information about his professional career. But I would like to see Mr. Meijer, if he's ready. Hello again. Can you hear me?
Hello, Hakan. Hello, how are you?
I'm fine.
Thank you for inviting us. I'm very well, thank you. And thank you very much for inviting us. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for being with us. And I would like to share a brief information about your professional career. And then I have some questions about the aviation tourism industry, because we live in a very difficult situation due to pandemic. And I would like to talk about all these things. Mr. Arjan Meijer has been Chief Commercial Officer of Embraer Commercial Aviation since January 2017. In his role as a CCO at the company, he has been responsible for the global marketing and sales functions across 6 different regions, helping the company to achieve 35 airline deals. Very important. He joined the company in April 2016 as Vice President of Commercial Aviation for Europe, the Middle East, Africa, and Russia. Prior to joining to this company, Embraer, Mr. Arjan Meijer spent 15 years in various executive roles at the KLM, very important Dutch international company, KLM Group, let's say. So this is a brief information. Of course, you have enormous experience in this sector, but I would like to start with my questions. Q&A session, if you are ready and if you are clearly hear my voice. Can I start? Thank you. My first question, being named CEO in the midst of global pandemic, which is very difficult, must be a quite challenge. Why did you accept? My first question. What did you think?
Thank you very much, Hakan. And first of all, thank you for having us. I think there's a little bit of a delay on the line, so I'll keep talking. We're really happy to be here. Unfortunately, another session via the web. I love to do these sessions, but unfortunately, that's the way we have to do it. But Embraer is proud to be here. To your question, yes, I've had that question before. And as a matter of fact, I think, yes, we're in the middle of a pandemic. It's very difficult for everyone in the industry. But for Embraer, I believe, of course, there's a huge impact short term. We haven't had any cancellations on our product line. We have granted some deferrals with customers in good arrangements. So it has impacted our deliveries this year, and it will impact deliveries in the years to come. But as Embraer, we're also confidently looking forward. If you look at 2001, if you look at 2008, the previous big crises, we saw a pickup of our aircraft and our segments after that. What we normally see is when the market is slow and the volumes are low, airlines tend to seek a more risk-averse solution. They look at the smaller aircraft. And typically, Embraer segment revives stronger after the crisis. So we are confidently looking forward. So that's why, for me, taking the positions is at this pivotal moment in time and helping Embraer out of the crisis is what I grab with two hands. I'm really happy to take the job, and I'm proud to be offered to take this role for the years ahead.
I see. My second question: the aviation industry in general, the airline industry in particular, suffered the most losses during the pandemic, unfortunately. According to the regulators, for example, IATA, the airlines will lose more than $100 billion in 2020 alone. So, in your view, what needs to be done by the airlines, governments, aircraft manufacturers, and other aviation-related industries to, to manage this situation, help to sustain the industry, which is a very difficult times?
Yeah, absolutely, Hakon. Well, what I would say first is that obviously pre-COVID, the industry was booming. So on the base level, the industry is very healthy, and it's really the pandemic that threw everything literally upside down. So the importance of the industry for the global economy and also for Turkey, for that matter, is enormous. I mean, it's for the tourism industry, for business. So it's of utmost importance that together we make sure that the industry gets through this, that the airlines can keep flying. We see a lot of government support around the globe. We believe that's extremely important to make sure that the customers of ours and the airlines in the world get through this crisis. We also believe it's extremely important that governments connect each other and find ways to get the traveling public back into the air. There are some regions in the world where it's really difficult at the moment because of the different rulemakings between countries, which creates a lot of uncertainty with customers. So the airlines need to work together, the OEMs need to work together, and I think we've seen a lot of that where airlines and their suppliers, be it OEMs or lessors, have found ways to weather the storm at this moment. But also the governments have done a lot, but I think we really need to work together to make people confident, to make people trust that when they buy tickets, they can fly again. We've been very vocal as an industry, but also as Embraer, that flying is safe. We have systems on airplanes, filters to clean the air. We have proven that it's a more safe environment to be in. And then with a face mask on, that's an extra barrier, which proves that flying is safe. So I think we're doing a lot in the industry, and working together is how we get out of this crisis. And I'm hopeful that we'll see the road back up soon with the vaccine coming to the market.
Arjan, personally, I'm a frequent traveler. I have been in more than 165 countries. So I believe in the industry. I believe that all the companies in general, I'm talking in general, aviation is safe. It's a safe way of transportation. And I have a flight today, by the way. This is my mask. I will use my mask always. And then I have this, you see, all together. And if all passengers use similar things, it's also compulsory, mandatory to use all those things in the flights. I think it is safe if we rather, I mean, if we compare with other transportation ways, methods. This is my personal, of course, opinion. Uh, but my question is related with this one because passengers are currently afraid to flight, as we all know. How do you see the aviation recovering from this crisis? I mean, mentioned a little bit about this problem, but what do you think? What can you add additional information about this problem?
Yeah. Well, first of all, to your first point about passengers being afraid, I think what we have seen is when people are confident, they will travel again. We saw it over summer in Europe. We saw it in the US. We see it in China, where people are confident after the crisis, and traffic levels are back up. So I think a lot of the confidence is also generated by the confidence that people can actually take that trip, and that they don't have impediments to their flight, like going into quarantine or what have you. As I said before, we've done a lot of work as an industry to prove that the flying itself is absolutely safe. And to your point, you feel safe when you're flying. You fly a lot. So I think the perception and people are afraid in flying. I'm confident that we will grow over that rather quickly. But having said that, I think growing out of the industry will take a long time. IATA is projecting 24-25 for the global recovery of aviation. That's a long time. That's unprecedented. The regional and the continental traffic will probably emerge quicker. But we believe the traffic flows will be affected. Also, travel behavior of passengers will probably change. The fact that people use these virtual meetings, for sure, it's going to replace some of the business travel. It's likely that people will also maybe have different ways of commuting. The supply chain might change because of the pandemic. So we believe that there are several developments following the pandemic that will affect the flying patterns around the world. And from an Embraer perspective, we believe that's going to help our segment, because we think the streams are going to be smaller. There's going to be more local traffic. So for the segment of the smaller aircraft, we believe that's going to pose an opportunity. But we're quite confident that the fear of the flying public will move away when the vaccine comes to the market. But we're also confident that the patterns will change going forward.
Yes, the scale is also important, as you mentioned. And your company, Embraer, is the third largest aircraft manufacturer in the world at this moment, and the leading manufacturer of regional jets, very important. With this decline in demand and the expectations of not seeing 2019 numbers until, as you mentioned, 2024 or 2025, I mean, do you see airlines appreciating the benefits of operating smaller aircraft? And did you see a surge of demand on regional jets recently in global markets?
Yeah, that's a good question. What we have seen several indicators over the last couple of months. Of course, in March, April, the traffic went down enormously. A lot of aircraft were parked at the time. But ever since, we've seen that a number of airlines have picked up regional aircraft from the market, used capacity, as a sign that airlines are seeing the benefit of that segment. We've also seen around the globe that the regional jets have taken the lead in the recovery. Clearly, if airlines have the flexibility and they want to restate their networks and they want to restate the frequencies on a lower demand, it is very helpful to have the smaller aircraft regenerate the network and to rebuild the networks to the future. So those are elements we're already seeing on the used market. We see it on the Embraers flying at the moment. We see customer reaching out to us. They're asking about the segment, where there was a lot of focus in the years leading to the COVID crisis, where demand was almost infinite. Focus was on bigger narrow bodies, bigger wide bodies, and airlines have to choose where their priorities are, and that was not always on the regional segment. And I think in the years ahead, we will see a more risk-averse perspective from airlines. They need to rebuild the network. They need to see where the traffic flows are coming and going. And we strongly believe that the E-Jet that we offer, and especially the E2 family, in the video you just kindly showed of Embraer before we had this chat, we showed the 195 E2, which we call the Profit Hunter. That's a magnificent airplane. It's got in a full density layout up to 146 seats, but it offers a seat cost level which is very competitive with the larger narrow bodies. But it offers trip costs which are roughly 25% lower. So that gives an airline the capability to fly smaller aircraft, to do it still at a very competitive level. And with the smaller aircraft, it's easier to restart the network at higher frequency. So we see already some elements today on the used and on the existing fleet. We'll also see an increased demand, and I think in the next couple of years, airlines will really reconsider the way they build the networks and how they get a versatile, flexible fleet to cope with the demand over the next couple of years, and to cope with the potential risk that we have in the future of impacts, which not necessarily a pandemic like this, but I think it shows that you need to be ready for falls in demand.
I have tweeted a message recently, and I posted your aircraft in my Twitter account, and I will also share in my Instagram account. I like the film movie. It's a nice animation. And I have a question about Turkey. It's an important and growing market, in my opinion. Turkey has become perfect crossing point between east and west geographically, if you see the map, north and south as well. Where do you see Embraer fitting in this success story, and what are you doing to be part of this successful strategy in this market?
Yeah, Hakan, Turkey is a huge market, right? And Istanbul it's probably one of the best located airports in the world. I mean, if you draw the networks around Turkey, 40% of the routes are actually within narrow-body range, which is quite amazing. Huge parts of Asia, huge parts of Europe, and huge parts of Africa fall within that range. So it's a logical place for the smaller aircraft to offer connectivity and frequency, and to have Istanbul and the other Turkey airports, for that matter, as pivot points in the global network. But what we have seen over the last couple of years was a tremendous climb in demand, a rally for bigger aircraft, which many airlines saw demand enough to fill bigger aircraft. So the regional aircraft were less in the picture from that perspective. Also, we saw Istanbul Airport very congested. So if you can use a slot only once, you would rather use it with a bigger aircraft than a smaller. But going forward, there's a couple of new developments. Obviously, first of all, there's the new COVID world with lower demand. There's the new airport in Istanbul, which will offer a lot more slots for connectivity. So we believe that to offer even more connectivity and even more frequencies in the region, our segment up to 150 seats could be a very important segment for the region to further improve the connectivity of Istanbul. It has the capability to grow versus the competition. Many airports in the larger region are congested, so I think that's a competitive edge that Istanbul has going forward. And I think connectivity and frequency in the smaller circle around Istanbul, which is still 5-6 hours operation with an E2. I believe it's a segment which could offer huge benefits for operators in and out of the Turkish airports.
Yes. When we look at Turkish carriers, Turkish Airlines, Pegasus, SunExpress, and AnadoluJet, and others, they are mostly operating with Airbus and Boeing aircrafts, yet no Embraer. What is the reason behind that, and what are you doing to introduce Embraer aircraft into Turkey practically?
Well, we are in constant. I mean, we have a sales force around the world. As you mentioned in your introduction, I have local representations in the 6 regions. One of them is in the Middle East, so we have an office in Dubai. We also have an office in Amsterdam covering a large region. We are in very frequent contact with operators, so we're on a constant basis showing the strength of our product line and what Embraer can do. We have an analyst, we have several analyst teams around the world working with our marketing teams. And what they do is a lot of analysis work for the airlines to show what our product could offer in the region. But as I just explained to you, there were some limitations in the past, like the congestion of Istanbul Airport, and the extreme demand that we saw in the market. But with those changing elements, and I think we will continue to show the analysis of what our product can do in the market. We believe there's a good opportunity. Also, we've been very vocal about our strategy going forward as Embraer. Of course, we were talking about going together with Boeing last year. Recently, that deal collapsed. So Embraer's decision to reintegrate commercial aviation. So we have a very clear strategy going forward, which is based on the full portfolio of Embraer, including commercial aviation, which also focuses a lot on partnerships and diversification. So I believe also the Turkish industry is interesting for Embraer. We have active conversations with many parties around the world. So there's a lot of elements that for Turkey we could bring together, and we're looking forward to how the next years will evolve in that sense.
Yes. At the same time, Istanbul Airport, new airport, gives a new maybe opportunities. With the new Istanbul Airport open, the slots constraints are virtually behind us. How do you see Embraer aircraft taking advantage of this with the new facility, maybe slots?
Yeah, the slot availability at the new Istanbul Airport is going to be huge. Even before the COVID crisis, we knew, of course, that this moment was going to come. In several discussions, we knew that until the new airport would open, the regional segment would be less interesting because of the demand for bigger aircraft to fill the slots or to fill the existing slots. But the quality and the exposure of the new airport and the vast amount of slots that are being added, I believe, is going to offer a great opportunity for Turkey and a great opportunity for Embraer to see how we can work together and get the E2 into Turkey to operate for the Turkish operators.
Do you see Embraer working with and cooperating with the aviation industry clusters in Turkey and be part of the success story we see, and if so, how?
Well, there are certainly opportunities ahead. We are, of course, we have the E2 program. Today we have the turboprop aircraft that we're talking about in the market. It's not launched, but it's a concept where we're seriously looking at and looking for partnerships. Turkey has several industries on the seat side, on the cabin side, but also Turkish aviation industries, Turkish aerospace industries, which are well-known parties in the industry. So we're in active conversations with many companies around the world, including the parties in Turkey, especially at this moment that we're looking at partnerships.
And about your products, turboprop. Maybe I would like to ask a question, the final question. You mentioned about a little bit, but maybe if you have an additional information or comment remarks, turboprop program. You recently released your images of your turboprop concept. What would you like to add on this subject? Final question.
Yeah, we're only at the start of this year. We said that if there was no GV, there was going to be no TP. which meant if the cooperation with Boeing was not going to happen, we would not build the turboprop. Of course, the market for the turboprop is interesting for Embraer. We have the as I said before, the E2 in the market now, up to 150 seats in a high density layout. It's a logical step for Embraer to look at the market below the E2s, which is 70 to 100 seats turboprop segment. We've talked about that a lot in the past. We're still very engaged on that idea. We're still actively working on that project, even though the business case has not been improved and the program has not been launched. But it's definitely something we are very serious about. We are in active search for partners to do that with us on a global base, partners that could support Embraer financially, partners that could support us on the industrial level. Of course, Embraer knows how to build a turboprop. We have a very capable company. We've shown that by various products coming to the market. But the turboprop is something we strongly believe in. What we think our turboprop could offer is the most efficient aircraft in that segment for the future. We would offer a more quiet airplane than anything in the market today. What you also saw in our renderings is that the fuselage is a very wide fuselage. It's based on the E-jets, which would offer a lot of passenger comfort. So we believe with a turboprop with 2020 standards and beyond, we think we can revive the segment, and we can offer an aircraft that has stellar economics for airlines. And we will bring the most efficient aircraft to the market once more, as we've done many times before. So yes, committed to the turboprop and actively looking for partners.
Yes, in this webinar 6th, we talked about our subject was how to make the civil aviation economies better with the commercial aircrafts. And I wish a quick recovery for the sick people. I'm talking about the COVID. Also, I wish a quick recovery for aviation business, Arjan. And thank you very much for being with us. It was a pleasure for me and for us to host you. And you gave us very detailed frame about our future and nowadays what are we doing and your company's perspective. I really appreciate and thanks a lot again.
Hakan, thank you very much for having us, and I'm looking forward to meet again soon, face to face.
Face to face,
thank you very much.
Take care. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, bye. We will continue our programs in this webinar series in Eurasia Airshow 2020. We will be together at 8 p.m. again. A correction, 5 p.m. again, we will be together, and have a good day. See you later. Bye.
There's a world of miracles inside our bodies.
See every color on Earth. Hear sounds that inspire. Feel more than just heat. Taste a world of flavor.
Nice.
Smell the miracles of nature.
See, smell, hear, taste, touch. Widen your world.
There are those of us who like to venture to the unexplored, to see the beauty in the strange and unknown. Those of us who go out there with a sense of wonder. If you're one of us, and if you want to explore more of this great planet, we're ready to take you there. It's time. Turkish Airlines. Widen your world.